We love where we live. Aroha kauana mātou ki te kāinga. Lots of clean, fresh water, a healthy moana, unique plants and animals, some of which aren't found anywhere else. A region that's adaptable and resilient to challenges like climate change, well-connected communities, and is developing with nature in mind. That's why we care for our place, the mighty Waikato. And we know you care about your place too. Make your Waikato even better with us. Tō Waikato, kia wana.
All right, councillors, welcome to our council meeting for the 24th of June, 2025. We will start with a...
Kia ora, councillors. Whakataka taho ki te uru, whakataka taho ki te tonga, kia makinakina ki uta, ki mataratara ki tai, hi aka ana te atakura, he tio, he huka, he ho hu, ti hei mauri ora.
Thank you very much for that. All right, councillors. Health and safety statement. There's no externals in the room, so we'll take that as read. Apologies. We've got apologies from Councillor Hodge, and then also early departure at about 1:15 from me. So hopefully we can get through this before then. Do I have a mover for the Councillor Strange, second, and Councillor Downard? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right, confirmation of the agenda. Now, councillors, I just want to note that we had some late legal advice come through quite late yesterday in relation to item 7.2, the joint management agreement and co-managed land agreement reviews. And so I don't feel we've had adequate time to consider that information that's come through. So we will defer that item to a future meeting so that we can make sure we've got our heads around that. Other than that, do I have a mover for the agenda? Councillor Clarkson, second, and Councillor Strange.
And
sorry.
Did we make a decision on the foreshadowed motion? Is that mentioned at all?
That will be when we come to the minutes.
Okay,
this is the confirmation of the agenda. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Disclosures of interest. Any new disclosures of interest? If not, no disclosures in relation to any matters before the meeting today. All right, we'll now move on to the minutes. Now, our first one is just in relation to the council minutes for the 19th and 20th of May, 25, as well as the open and public excluded minutes for the 29th of May, 2025. Do I have a mover to receive those? Sorry?
Just give them item number 6.1, 6.4, whatever, just trying to tick these off.
Sure. It would be item, sorry, noted there, item 6.2, and then item 6 and 8.3. All right. Sorry, did I have a mover and a seconder for that? I had Councillor Clarkson and Councillor Strange. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right, now we've got all of our minutes. Now, just to note, we've got minutes from the Raukawa Charitable Trust and Waikato Regional Council Co-Governance Committee, the Waikato Ropatu River Trust and Waikato Regional Council Co-Governance Committee, and the Te Arawa River Iwi Trust and Waikato Regional Council Co-Governance Committee. All three of those have matters that will need to come back to a subsequent meeting with adequate narrative and reports around them so that council can discuss the recommendations that are coming through those. So we won't be receiving those minutes today. We will be, they'll be tabled at a subsequent meeting, all right? Happy with that approach?
We have some explanation as to why, because you guys, yeah, because I'm
Sure.
got lost as someone that was at some of those.
Sure. So there, if you look at the minutes, there's a couple of items, particularly in the Raukawa one and the Te Arawa one, which are
Into one so we can have a live example to understand.
perhaps Molly might want to speak to this. So this is on
Really,
page
Madam Chair,
45.
Reality, Madam Chair, is if you make a ruling as chair, that's it.
I'm just giving a little bit of
With all due
narrative.
respect, Noel, I just
And
asked
and
to
just that
understand
we've had
why we're doing it.
a
It's
question,
perfectly
so I'm
legit
just
question.
taking care of that. Thank you, councillors. Molly.
Morena koutou. There are a number of recommendations in co-governance committee minutes that request council advocacy for things like te ture whai mana within statutory processes, submissions, those sorts of things. Quite rightly, that is a decision of council. And as the minutes are currently worded, it suggests that those decisions can be made under delegated authority by the co-governance committees. So we need to do a bit of tidy up to make sure that those recommendations come through to council for final decision making. So we'll undertake that at a future meeting.
So just for clarification, I'm just looking at that one because I heard it talked about the one about advocates for continued statutory recognition of Te Ture Whai Mana. Are we saying that even if council agreed with that, because of the way that term delegated authority is used in the minutes, we still need to go back and revisit it? Is it
Well, the decision must be made by council. Currently, as the minutes are worded, it suggests that the decision has already been made by the co-governance committees.
question is, even if because of the way these agendas have been stitched together, we need to go back and
it's more
revisit it.
The semantics of the minutes, a section B item versus a section A item. It seems unclear to me, and therefore I want to bring it back to a subsequent meeting so everybody is clear where the decision lies and that we've got whatever supporting documentation and debate to allow this council to make that decision.
Yes, it's an opportunity to tidy up the process and make sure that everybody is clear before going into this decision making. Yes, we could potentially try and muddle through that today, but it's probably not best to take that approach.
No, cool. I just want to understand you. Thanks.
Thank you. Cool. Right. Yeah. All right. I really don't want
Jonah.
to keep talking about this because
Pamela?
we've. Yes.
Pamela, I've had my hand up longer than
Sorry.
they've spoken,
Sorry,
so could
Pippa.
I speak in? It's not about the matter, but this is the third meeting where advice pertaining to partnership has or our position in terms of Wailra has caused a delay in making decisions in and around co-governance. It's making iwi partners nervous. So I suggest before anything comes back to council, could we make sure that it's ready to go to council?
Absolutely. That's the
So
intent.
I'm asking for more diligence because this is the third meeting in a row. And my iwi partners are seriously questioning whether we want to be in partnership. So kia ora.
Thank you. And that's the intent of me making this decision in regard to these particular minutes coming back to a subsequent meeting. So,
Madam Chair, can I ask a question, please?
very quickly.
Yes. I would like to understand how we're going to deal with it going forward, because I would like to be at the table when we sit down and finalise what we're going to do. I don't want it brought back and have another argument about whether it's what we want or not.
Understand that, and that is the intent of this. And that is the intent of this process, is to ensure that this council has adequate advice and adequate time to consider the decisions that are before it. That is the intent. That's what we'll do. All right, so we've got confirmation of the
I just wanted to raise the issue that I did put forward as a foreshadowed motion, is particularly because
We're going to cover this, Ben. We don't need to discuss this anymore today. We are going to cover this when these minutes come back to a subsequent council meeting. So what we are doing now is considering the confirmation of the minutes from the Climate Action Committee, the Environmental Performance Committee, and the CERC Committee, as well as receiving the minutes from the Future Proof Public Transport Subcommittee, the Hauraki Gulf Forum, and the Future Proof Implementation Committee. Do I have a mover to receive and confirm those minutes? Councillor Nicol, second, and Councillor Strange. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. That one. I think this is the one. Okay. So now we will move to 7.3. This is on page 306 of your.
sorry, we just
agenda?
confirm the minutes for the Hauraki Golf Forum?
Yes.
When we passed that?
Yes.
I don't recall if people have read the minutes and everyone agreed with them. Is that correct?
It was moved and seconded and passed.
Okay. And I didn't attend that forum, but I'm just checking that Warren is happy with those. Yep.
All right, moving forward. Item 7.3. This is on page 306. This is the adoption of the 2025-26 annual plan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, councillors. It is my great pleasure to present this report for you this morning. It reflects the culmination of work by staff and councillors over the last 9 months, both reviewing the budget that we'd proposed through the 2024 LTP as well as reflecting some key changes which form the basis of community consultations. In terms of the process, you've already made your decisions in terms of the setting of the budget. So the process today is really around the adoption of the annual plan in its entirety and all of the content that is included in that. And then that is to be followed by the setting of rates that give effect to this plan. Additionally, based on the decision of council through your deliberations to determine the basis for the setting of rating for public transport services in Hamilton City to continue on a capital value basis, staff have provided a revised rates remission policy that's included there for your approval. Thank you to the eagle eyes of Councillor Smith. There is one error that has been noted in the document on page 408, whereby the rate factors for public transport in central Waikato for serviced and unserviced differentials have been reversed.
Thank you for the eagle eyes, Councillor Smith.
That has been noted and will be corrected in the final version of the document. Just for information, it is correct in the rate setting report, but was transposed in the main document.
All right. I do have a mover and Councillor Mahuta on this, and a second and Councillor Nebo and Councillor Hughes.
I'd like to.
Yeah, Councillor Mahuta is online.
I'd like to move an amendment to the wording of this, if I may. The annual plan document makes comments on debate about using the 2.545 million of prior year surplus to reduce rates. The document also states that although evenly split on the issue, it was decided by casting vote that the surplus would not be relinquished. Wording then goes on to state it was decided that the alternative would create a gap in the council's finances for future years. And
Sorry, what page are you on, Councillor Hughes?
Page 329 and page 16 of the annual plan document. Page 329 of the agenda.
And that's the last paragraph, is it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Given the tied nature of the vote, a number of councillors who voted to reduce rates by 1.7% want the following words inserted into the annual plan document. The contrary argument asserts that bigger rates increases would not be required in future, provided there are strict control over budgets and that there is already more than $6 million set aside in disaster recovery funds.
I'd like to second that.
Sorry, I don't have a copy of these words in front of me, so I can't consider them.
Just an additional explanation.
Yeah. So if I can comment as seconder, I'd like to say that it clearly states that there was an even split on the issue, but only one side of the argument is given as to why the vote went a particular way. And the other side of the argument is that if you reduced costs, you wouldn't have bigger rates increases, and that there's already $6 million sitting aside in disaster recovery funds, plus insurances. So it negates some of the arguments that are put forward by one side of the argument.
Just through you, Madam Chair, while it's the wording's been written up for discussion, I think, Janine, that this was to indicate what the decision was, as opposed to what the fulsome of the debate was.
Correct.
Because that would be consistent with the other decisions made.
That's right. So as would be typical in here, we report back on the decisions that have been made by council. So that's the content that's been provided.
Well, if that's the case, there shouldn't be an argument setting one side of the argument down as to why the rates were.
There's only one side of the discussion which has been recorded in the annual plan. Surely both sides should be included in its split vote like that.
Dave, it's only the very last paragraph that you need to type up.
Right, I'm going to adjourn the meeting just for 5 minutes, just so we can all get our heads around what was proposed. But before I do that, again, councillors, bringing these things at the last minute so that other people don't have the opportunity to understand the wording that's being proposed really does not help the decision-making process. So I'm going to adjourn this meeting for 5 minutes. 10:06, we'll adjourn the meeting for 5 minutes to just get It's 10:13. So with a bit of discussion, I believe Councillor Mahuta is the mover and Councillor Kneebone as the seconder. Are you happy to add the minor proofing and design changes to remove the last sentence of the last paragraph on page 16 of the annual plan, agenda page 329? I'm just asking yeah, Tipa, Councillor Mahuta, are you happy with that change? I got a thumbs up.
We have division,
All right.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, could I ask for one further amendment, please?
Just noting that, councillors, we did workshop this document, so I am really surprised that things are coming through at the last minute.
All right, so on page 317, you've got message from the chairperson and chief executive. I believe chairperson should be replaced with council, and you sign it on behalf of council because it talks about we and council, and that it doesn't talk about what you say, Madam Chair. It talks about what council did and the chief executive supporting the council. So I think that it's pedantic and semantics, I suppose, but in my view, that's a message from the council. And I've spoken with Janine, and she's relaxed about it. I believe there's a fair comment. It's just, it reflects the work of the council, not one person.
Are you wanting all councillors to sign it?
No, I didn't say that, Madam Chair. I said I'm happy for you to sign it.
Just question,
of the
just
council.
asking, getting
No, I
clarification.
don't want to take everything from you.
So I don't want to go there. We elected you to be our spokesperson and sign on our behalf. I'm happy with the way it is.
Councillor Mahuta, are you happy with that the way it is?
Yes, I am.
All right, we've got a mover and a seconder. There was a call for division. So I'll leave that to Democracy Dave.
Okie dokie. A division's been called for the 3 points that are on the screen, as moved by Councillor Mahuta and seconded by Councillor Kneebone. I'll call your name shortly. Can you please make sure you use your mics and indicate whether you support, oppose or abstain the motion? Councillor Downard.
Against.
Councillor Dunbar-Smith.
What?
Councillor Graff.
Oppose.
Councillor Hughes.
Support.
Councillor Kneebone.
Support.
Councillor Ma. Support. Councillor Mahuta.
Support.
Councillor Nicol.
Support.
Councillor Smith. Councillor Story.
Support.
Councillor Strange.
Support.
Councillor Clarkson. Support. Councillor Cookson.
Support.
The motion is carried 11 votes to 2.
All right, we'll now go on to
Story. I realise it's after the vote. I just wanted to say a big thank you to the staff for this is the end of that process. And well done. And one thing I wanted to slip in there is I've read a few of these now over the years, and this one is so tidy and overseeable and well done. There's a lot of white space on the page. You don't feel overwhelmed. Really like the graphs. Thanks very much.
yes, thank you very much, Janine, to you and your team. Much appreciated. Well done, Jane. Good job. All right, we'll move on to item 7.4. This is the rate setting report. This is on page 427 of your agendas.
Madam Chair, this process should largely be procedural, given you have adopted your plan and these are the rate factors that need to be now set so that we can assess rates to fund that plan. There is one amendment that I'd just like to note, and this is following some recent legal advice that we've just had on the wording of our resolution for rates penalties. So Dave's captured this in terms of the resolution, but the revised wording, there's no change in the way that we apply penalties. That's being checked and confirmed as being all legit. But we've had some recommendations in terms of just tidying up, particularly the wording around the application of penalties for rates arrears. So that's just reflected and here. My apologies that it's late. We only received the advice on yesterday morning.
Can I just ask a question, Janika? Does that mean that we're adding penalties onto penalties?
Yes, it does.
So we're compounding penalties?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And that was part of the sort of check that we did,
Yep.
that there's no issue with that.
Councillor Kneebone.
I'm happy to move the recommendations, Madam Chair.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favour? Opposed? Carried. All right, we'll now move to item 7.5. Now, did we? Yeah. All right, councillors, this is again item 7.5, LGNZ membership. This is on page 453 of your agenda packs. I do know that Simon Rendell was intending to be online just in case there were any questions. So I have just texted him just to let him know that we are on the item. So hopefully he'll be joining us. But over to you, Molly.
Kia ora, Madam Chair. Just a quick reminder, we recently workshopped the benefits, services and costs related to our membership with LGNZ. This was kicked off via a notice of motion from councillors. We had a number of LGNZ representatives come and attend the workshop. Susan Freeman, the CE, Simon Randall, Policy Advisor, but also the Provincial Sector Chair, Mayor Neil Holdham, to present information from their perspective to the council. The costs associated with the subscription are provided in the council agenda and broken down, as well as an articulation of the benefits of the membership that we receive. Essentially, we're bringing this item back to council so that staff can have clarity required with regard to whether we proceed with the LGNZ membership for the coming year. Over to you.
Councillor Strange.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Molly, for the work that has been done so far. Yeah, I personally believe in the value of LGNZ, and so I'd like to move the motion that we remain a member of LGNZ.
I'll second the motion.
Position called for.
Yeah, I certainly support continued membership of LGNZ. I feel that not only have I myself as the chair of this council and as a councillor of this council, I've personally benefited in my governance under the advice of LGNZ and the opportunities that they have provided. Those who have attended LGNZ conferences, certainly I'm sure that they see the benefit. Those who continue to to put their hand up to attend those conferences, clearly see value in what LGNZ provides for this council. So I'm sure that they'll support this initiative as well. Councillor Clarkson.
Yeah, I'm wondering, as a matter of process, whether those people who've signed on to attend the next meeting of Local Government New Zealand can we know the state of situation with who's actually signed up to go on the trip and who's intending to attend the meeting?
I know that we've got Councillor Strange. Councillor Mahuta is our Councillor Strange is our voting member at the AGM. Councillor Mahuta is the alternate. There we go. Also, Councillor Kneebone is attending. Councillor Nicol is attending. No, Councillor Kneebone is not attending.
I had to pull out because of other commitments, but
yes,
I wanted to go. Yeah.
nice. And Councillor Marr and Councillor Cookson are attending. I think that's everybody that's attending this year. Yep.
I think so.
No, that's very helpful. I just wanted to, again, I wanted to support the motion also. I've derived benefit from my interactions with Local Government New Zealand, and I have participated in processes to assist them improve their performance in a couple of areas, and they've been very open to those approaches. I think there is danger in what would be interpreted as a policy of splendid isolation. I can't see that you can actually operate in a forum like the one we operate in without having really strong connections with other councils, and Local Government New Zealand assists in that process and provides us with a whole lot of, I guess, intelligence and information that we wouldn't otherwise be party to. So I just wanted to, add my support to this motion. Thank you.
Right. We've had 3 speak in favour of this motion. Does anyone want to speak against this motion? Councillor Hughes.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm obviously going to be speaking against it as requested. And the reason for that is that I just don't see that we're getting value for money out of it. We have, north of the Taupo, we have 50% of the population of New Zealand. We have got a northern regional group which meet, I understand, on a regular basis, and that, from what I'm told from those who attend, is gaining traction and significant benefit coming out of that, mainly because of the involvement in Auckland and also the bringing together of the region. And for that reason, I'd rather see our focus be put on that area and spend more money there rather than spending it with people in Wellington, with those from the South Island who have got very little affinity with those who live in the north part of the North Island. So that's the reason I'm voting against it.
Just in terms of the Upper North Island Strategic Alliance, that doesn't include all councils within that that area. So just so you're aware that not all councils have membership in that collective. Anyone else who would like to speak against the motion? If not, we've got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor?
Motion called for.
Oh, sorry.
Okie dokie. We're voting on whether council remains a member of Local Government New Zealand. Voting for the motion means you're voting that we remain. Voting against the motion means that you're voting that we do not remain. As before, I'll call your names out. Please use your mics and indicate whether you support, oppose or abstain. Councillor Dunbar-Smith.
Oppose.
Councillor Graff.
Oppose.
Councillor Hughes.
Oppose.
Councillor Kneebone.
Support.
Councillor Marr.
Oppose.
Councillor Mahuta.
Sorry, you're on mute, Tippa.
I'll come back to Councillor Mahuta at the end. Councillor Nicol.
Support.
Councillor Smith. Councillor Story.
Support.
Councillor Strange,
Support.
Councillor Clarkson,
Support.
Councillor Cookson,
Against.
Councillor Downard,
Opposed.
Councillor Mahuta, okay, at the current standings with Councillor Mahuta not being recording a vote, the motion is lost 6 votes to 5.
All right, councillors. So I assume we'll not be progressing with any attendance at the conference this year.
Just
Not
on
much
that, attendance at the annual conference is still possible. It will cost council more to do so without the annual subscription.
Sorry, Councillor Kneebone, did you have?
I was just going to ask, so if those councillors, if councillors don't attend the conference, alternatively, then I'm assuming we're past a point of refunds for airfares and things, are we, or what's an accommodation, all that sort of stuff?
I'd need to check what the booking conditions were.
Yeah, and just to be clear, council can still attend the conference. What we won't be able to participate in is the AGM.
But if we don't see value in membership at LGNZ,
Yes.
it would seem extremely hypocritical if we turn up at a conference.
Yes.
Madam Chair, it's just something else I'll need to turn my mind to, and that is we are up for a finalist and an award at the conference, and so I will need to see if we can still pursue that.
Could I clarify, please, in regards to the regional sector? Because if we had spent a bit more time debating, my point was going to be that the regional sector membership by itself seems to give us more value for money than even the other bullet points. Obviously, there's the regional sector tour and all of that. So where would that
Regional
leave us?
sector is part of LGNZ.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Because I think one of the main motivations for some of the councillors was to attend the regional sector tour. And so we only referred to
That
the
is
conference. I just wanted to bring
the
that up.
construct of LGNZ. So if there was value seen in attending that, then one would have supported this membership. All right, we will now move on to, I do want to skip ahead, councillors. We'll go into public excluded just because I want to make sure we get through the items that are of most significance to this council before I have to head off. So we will move to exclude the public. Paul is not going to be ready for another 20 minutes. All right, then we won't go into public excluded. We shall go to the health and safety report. I'm just trying to eyeball Stu over there. Yeah, all good?
Sorry, Madam Chair.
Okay, councillors, so this is item, sorry, what are you, sorry, Tracy?
Sorry, Madam Chair. Lizette's just got to be somewhere and we have the facial framework next. Shouldn't take too long as we discussed it at the workshop last week. Sorry.
All right. Thanks, Stu. Lizette, we'll bring you forward. Sorry, councillors, we will instead move to item 7. point. Wait a minute. What am I? Sorry, 7.6. This is on page 457. This is the Waikato Regional Spatial Strategy Framework. Councillors, we did discuss this at Strategy and Policy last week, so none of this should be new information. So, sorry, Lizette, did you want to?
Happy for it to be taken as read. As a reminder, it was subject of a workshop last week, and this is the formal bringing you the draft framework as per the CE KPI of this financial year, which was to finalise a draft regional spatial strategy framework for consultation with others by the 30th of June this year. So as I mentioned, the framework was presented and discussed at a workshop last week, and we will now, as staff, keep working through the project with partners using the principles that were presented in the workshop last week. The first steps are agreeing partners, filling the data gaps that we've mentioned, preparing a project plan and a sufficient communications and engagement strategy, and setting up technical groups. And LTP funding for this project will be used for this work, so we don't envisage anything beyond what has already been set aside for this. And acknowledging again that it's an iterative process, so we're open to continued feedback and co-creation as we learn as we go, and also incorporate direction from central government in spatial planning. Thank you.
Happy to second. I've got a comment as well.
Okay, we've got a mover in Councillor Smith and a second in Councillor Dunbar-Smith. Any other comments?
I'll just comment. I wanted to thank you for the workshop, the strategy and policy. We went through it in detail, and it was a really good workshop. Interesting how important this regional spatial strategy is going to be for future in terms of policy development. But it would be useful to have feedback to strategy and policy on who you're picking as the stakeholders, because there was emphasis about business and commercial weren't necessarily covered so far. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, we certainly envisage keeping you well informed and updated and receiving input. Thank you.
It's the move.
Yep.
I think it's in line with what I think the government has indicated, where we have one regional plan with a few sections of district plans jumping in. It's in line with that, and it's certainly a move in the right direction. So, as I said, happy to move.
All right, anything else on this? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right. Okay. Okay, now, Stu, now we'll do the health and safety. So this is item 7.1. Man, we are all over the show. All over the numbers. 7 points. What number are we on, Dave? What number is it, Stu?
0.7.
Okay, 7.7, page 460.
Good morning. I'll take the report as read and point you to a few points of interest as per usual. You'll see under the national events that unfortunately a farmhand was killed in a quad bike accident back in 2022. And that would have been a preventative incident if the quad bike had been properly maintained. So there was a prosecution there that you can read about. We don't operate quad bikes at council, which is a good thing because they have lots of hazards associated, but we do have a number of preventative maintenance schemes with the equipment that we use, and pre-start checks on all equipment are carried out before they're used, which is good. And we obviously ensure the ongoing maintenance of that equipment as we use it through the years and replace it when required. I'll move you through to the event categories, and I just wanted to pick one thing up in the environment. I know we've had some discussions previously about the lighting levels in the building, and we've kind of, had some low lighting areas installed or dim the lights. You may have noticed that as you've got into the lift, there's some colour coding now against the different numbers for the floors, and that was just due to a person who had visual impairment notifying us that they found it difficult to see that. So you'll have seen that we're constantly trying to improve things for people here, and we've got low lighting areas, and that's something that's been picked up specifically and is helping people to use the lift more effectively. So it's a small thing, but it's good to pick up when people raise these issues with us. Moving through, you'll see that the health and safety management system, I know we've talked about this a few times now. I've had the due diligence conversation, which was really good with you, and we engaged on the health and safety management system, and it's great that we've got a one source of the truth for that now, and that we're going to be rolling that out to look to continue to drive and improve safety across the organisation, and that includes roles and responsibilities, better investigations, and good employee engagement. Moving through to point 35, you'll see my everyday well-being. Put some information in there for you just around that provision for staff. You'll see that it's been a really significant uptake, and we're getting real value from that. That's an email that goes out to all staff, and you can see that actually 54% of staff are utilising that outside of work. And you can see the figures in there around the utilisation, that 11,249 pages have been viewed, and we've got much higher click-through rates than the industry sees. And I guess the thing to note here is that these are carefully scripted articles that get to the point quite quickly, so staff can look at them and quickly understand what they're about and get real value from them. They're also scientifically validated, so the information is peer-reviewed and validated that staff are getting, and I think you'll agree that it's a very good return on investment for $9.30 per staff member. That's all the points that I wanted to point you to today. Happy to take any questions.
Councillor, not sure who was in first, Councillor Smith or Councillor Marr, who was in first?
Sorry, I don't go for it.
Oh. Councillor Smith.
Oh, there you go. Just on the page 466, the industry average third bullet point was 2 and staff click rate was 8. Is that a good or a bad thing?
Good. It's a good thing. Yep. We're way above the industry in that click rate, which is good. The utilisation is much better.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Stu, just a bit of a query around that farm accident. Obviously, we do run some side-by-sides, which do have a tendency to roll over in wrong conditions. But what was the maintenance issue that wasn't done properly that caused the accident? Are you not aware?
Don't know the specifics of it. I can find out for you. Yeah, if you'd like to know, I can certainly look into it in depth, but I'm not sure what the issue was with the machine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other? Councillor Cookson.
Yeah, mine isn't actually a comment of the report, but I've spoken to Stu earlier about this, that when other councils, TAs, are doing their own new health and safety policies, especially Hauraki that's going through one right now, they're going through an audit process, that we need to be in the room having a discussion, sharing our knowledge of where we share assets and locations where staff work together, that can help with their auditing process instead of them recreating the wheel. So I hope after our discussion this morning that sort of discussion happens more often. So thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Roy.
All right. If there's no other questions, got a mover and Councillor Marr, second and Councillor Hughes.
Can I just raise one issue, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just the health and safety. I know Robbie and I talked to you earlier in the week about the new Churchill East platform where it's got a 20-tonne rating supposedly on the new bridge for the diggers to go onto. A 20-tonne digger tried to get on but had wide tracks and couldn't. And of course, had it been able to get on, all that pressure, with the extras on, it's 23-tonne digger, plus the weight of the weed that's coming out, it's way over the limit. So our bridges haven't got weight limits on them signposted. So just an issue that we're raising. I hope you don't mind us feeding this in all the time. It seems to be, we pick these things up regularly. So,
yeah, no, I think it's really good that you're doing that. You know, I've had the discussion around due diligence, and you know, you're actually out there in the field seeing the work done, which is, you know, a fantastic thing. And we've talked about, you know, your engagement, and I really appreciate that you're bringing those things to the fore, and that we then pick them up with operations and health and safety to ensure that we're doing what we need to in that space and can report back to you. So thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, it's really good.
All right. We've got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Carried. Or against? Carried.
Thank you.
All right. So that has us through all of our public agenda items. So, I'm just gonna take an adjournment for 10 minutes before we go. Oh, wait, hang on a second. Before we adjourn, we'll move into public excluded, and then we will adjourn. All right. So do I have a mover to Councillor Clarkson? Councillor Marr? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. you very much, councillors, for making quick work of that agenda, despite it's 500 and something pages long. I appreciate the diligence in moving through that. But before we close the meeting today, I did just want to invite Director Neville Williams to the table, because Neville will be retiring on the 30th of June, and I wanted to take this opportunity to acknowledge the 11 years that you have had serving the Waikato region here at the Waikato Regional Council, and just noting your role leading our communications and marketing team, our information services team, the utilization of data in this organization. You have led tremendous gains in how we present the information, our dashboards. You've made that information much more accessible, particularly from a governance point of view, and I certainly want to acknowledge that. Want to acknowledge the role you've played around civil defense and emergency management, and providing the voice of regional council around that table, and what is obviously very important mahi, particularly when we have the odd cyclone roll through. So I appreciate what you have done to represent us in that space. Your team with Tauranga Whenua and what they have done to help assist this organization in meeting our Crown objectives and obligations, and ensuring that we stay on the right side of those. I appreciate what you and your team have brought. And also just in terms of our customer engagement and customer service, I think that if we look back over the time that you've been in this role, we've seen amazing improvements in that net promoter score. And that's a real testament to what you have done with our customer services team, how you've organized them, how you've trained them, how you've encouraged them to continue to represent this organization to the best of their ability. It really shows in the feedback we get from stakeholders. And I just wanted to acknowledge you, Neville, for what you have done to, as I say, ensure that the Waikato region is the best it can be. And just thank you very much for the service you have provided to our Waikato communities. So I don't know if you wanted to say anything. We'll give you a good clap. There we go. Nice.
Very briefly, thank you, Madam Chair and councillors. It has been 11 years, and they've been 11 enjoyable years, to be frank. And I do think it's been a privilege to work for this organisation and to work in a leadership role within it, and to be able to have access to the incredible people, the resources, and the opportunity to do things that I would never have been able to do otherwise. And it has been a privilege. It has been a pleasure. Not every relationship goes smoothly, and there's always ups and downs, but at the end of the day, I think everybody who sits around this table and everyone who works within this organisation has one genuine commitment, and that is to make the Waikato region the best it can be. So I do appreciate the recognition and the acknowledgement. I'm not one for that type of thing, to be frank.
Yeah, but I dragged you back down
you
here.
Dragged me back down. I thought I dodged a bullet there. But I do appreciate the recognition, and I do thank you most sincerely for that. Yeah, ngā mihi nui.
Nice. Tipa, did you just on the microphone if you can? Oh, you're going to sing it too. Hey, would we like that?
Hi. Tēnā koe me tēnā kōrua hoki a kia kataraina hoki.
Thank you very much. All right. And with that, we will close.
To you, Madam Chair, and I'm sorry, I left I got into a place where I couldn't contact you. But I understand we're no longer members of LGNZ, so my adjunct to that is we're not attending conference, my assumption.
That would be my assumption.
Cool. No, I'm just seeking clarity because it's going to happen between now and the next meeting. So no regional sector, no conference, no maruata. Kei te pai, I can send my paper to Te Maruata in writing. But I would like us to consider that decision into the future. We look a little bit two-faced and we're going to lose money and ICM won't be nominated for that award. Ka roha, can we recognise that alongside the minute? Thank you.
Thank you, Tipa. All right, we'll close with a karakia.
Kia ora. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'd just also like to acknowledge Neville while you're around the table. Just he's been very dedicated to the executive leadership team in the last 11 years. He's been a colleague of mine. He's worked for me in more recent times, but I think I've really enjoyed having your company around the table, Neville, and I do know the hard work you put in to help council, fulfill its goals and deliver its business. Ona hia mai te uru tapanui. Kia wātia, kia mama, te nākau, te tinana, te hinenaro. E te ara takatu, koe rā, e rongo, e whakaaria, aki ke ronga, kia tina, haumie, huie, tai, kie.
Declare the meeting closed at 12:13 p.m. Thank you, everyone.